Tonight on Top Story, the Yempene declaration by opposition political parties to pile pressure on the Electoral Commission to back down on its decision to compile a new voters register.
On Saturday, the 11th of January, we shall be in Tamale for the mega Tokusai demonstration. We shall follow up with Yempene demonstration in Kumasi on Tuesday, 21st January, and climax with Wapene demonstration in Accra.
We have details as a series of action to pile pressure on the EC to back down on the decision is rolled out by the inter-party resistance against the new voters register. That's coming up on Top Story, brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready. Gaston, the nation builder. And tonight, the decision by the Electoral Commission to compile a new voters register is receiving the fiercest resistance yet, as the inter-party resistance against the new voters register lays down a roadmap against the move. The parties made up of the All People's Congress, APC, People's National Convention, PNC, and the National Democratic Congress, NDC, and other parties at a press conference in Accra announced a series of demonstrations to begin from Tamale on January 11 and culminate in a mammoth procession on January 28 in Accra. Founder of APC, Hassan Ayariga, says the EC's unilateral decision to spend in excess of 400 million Ghana cedis backed by Parliament on a new electoral system will be a waste of scarce resources.
We are saying if the EC wants a new voter register, we are not against a new voter register at all. The timing is wrong, the period is not prudent, the situation is bad. To conduct a new register, you need not less than 2 years to get all the documents and everything intact. If you go and bring these new machines you are talking about, and these new machines have challenges within the period, what are you going to do? What are you going to do then when you, in an election day, we find challenges with those machines? Already, we know our old one. The challenges we know. Let's resolve to those challenges. That the evil I know is better than the what? The danger I don't know. Why are they forcing for a new register? On Saturday, the 11th of January 2020, we shall be in Tamale for the mega Tokusai. The Dogomba word Tokusai means we will not agree demonstration. The conveying point will be the Tamale Jubilee Park at 6 a.m. We shall follow up with Yempene demonstration in Kumasi on Tuesday, 21st January 2020, and climax with Wapene demonstration in Accra on Tuesday, 28th of January 2020.
Now, the group is also calling on civil society, faith-based organizations, and the Peace Council to rise up against the Electoral Commission's decision to compile a new voters register, a process they say has been shrouded in secrecy.
The success of our resistance to the compilation of this register will yield savings of close to about 500 million cedis of the taxpayers' money. This money can be used to build roads, schools, hospitals, factories, and even upgrade the free senior high school. Fellow citizens, the government is supporting the needless expenditure of this 833 million Ghana cedis at a time when farmers are crying, fishermen are crying, cocoa farmers are crying, teachers are crying, nurses are crying, contractors are crying, drivers are crying, businesses and banks are collapsing. Students are losing hope in our governance system. The teachers, nurses, and contractors are crying because they own huge areas of involvement and entitlement by the state. The drivers are crying because the perennial increase in fuel pricing are driving them out of business. The farmers are crying because they cannot afford the increasing cost of agriculture inputs.
Now, on the position by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that the Ghana card, once thoroughly issued to Ghanaians, will be a solution to the challenges with the voters register, Hassan Ayariga says the Ghana card exercise itself is flawed with unprecedented inefficiencies, adding that the system can't be trusted for that purpose.
Let's go to the issue of this national identification card they are going to use to authenticate the register. Let me use myself as an example. I registered for National Health Insurance, National Identification Authority. Till date, I don't have the card. as I speak to you. They call me, come for your card. I go there, I get there, and there's nobody. It's, oh, we don't even know. It's in the other section. You go there. So I'm even tired of it. I don't have it. Let Baumia come and tell me the reasons why. And these are the challenges we are going to encounter if we start with a new voter register. So, what are they asking for? If they want us to compile a new voter register, let's finish with the 2020 elections. We have time. All of us will sit down as stakeholders. We will get enough resources to bring our people to come to the centers and register.
Now, meanwhile, General Secretary of the opposition NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, says the Electoral Commission is looking for a solution to a problem which does not exist in the manner it is going with its planned compilation of a new register. He's also been dismissing claims the current register is bloated.
See, they've made their mind that we have to make a register. So let us go shopping for reasons why we should make a register. So when they bring one reason and they are deflated, then they will go and look for another reason and come back and be arguing with that reason. The truth of the matter is that there is no need. We don't support stupid proposals. Because, you see, if you buy a brand new vehicle and you go and park it at a fitting shop that they should repair that vehicle, what impression are you creating for yourselves? You see? So that is what they are doing. They themselves are saying the thing is credible. If it is credible, why? If it is not broken, why would you fix it? So that is why we are against it. We are not against it because we are in government or we are in opposition. We are against proposals that don't make sense. And we want to support proper and efficient use of our taxpayers' monies. And we want to do it.
That's the General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia. Well, the Electoral Commission has been speaking, justifying why there's a need to compile a new voter roll. Parliament, of course, we know, has already approved the budget that was put before them, even though the minority boycotted it. They've held a press conference also over the festivities and then also issued a statement making a case for why we need a voters register. They've mentioned that the manual verification was resorted to because it didn't work with finger recognition. And then also they mentioned that they've spent 2 million Ghana cedis to repair all BVDs before the district assembly elections, and this new one will have facial recognition, and there'll be no need for if you don't have the finger recognition, the facial recognition will be there for us. But let's hear from this interview that my colleague Aisha Ibrahim has had or pre-recorded with Samuel Tete. He's a deputy commissioner in charge of operations. That interview will be aired tonight on PM Express. Listen to excerpts of it.
EC is an independent organization, and it was actually set up by the Constitution. It has a clear mandate, a clear functions and other things. And we all work in the interest of what? The nation. What the EC thinks is the best is what they can do. So it is not up to one or two political parties to decide for the people of
one or two.
Well, I because I'm not actually privy to the press conference that you are just talking about, that we have PNC, APC, and all that. In fact, I don't actually know about the press conference, so I don't know the political parties who are saying that there's no need. Yes, but what I'm saying is, even if they have their view, their position, their what do you call it? Their position, definitely that one cannot actually contradict or counteract the constitutional mandate given by the EC so far as compilation of a new voters register is concerned.
But you agree that the NDC is totally in condemnation of a new voters register?
Well, they have actually made their intentions at the IPAC meetings that they are not in favor of the new voters register. But don't forget that the 1992 Constitution, Article 45A, actually gives the Commission the mandate to compile a voters register and then revise it at such periods that it may consider necessary.
But it's the same Constitution the NDC is quoting for you, that you can only compile a new voters register after a population census has been conducted. Have we conducted any population census? Why are you
let
me register?
Let me draw your mind back to the press conference that we actually held. The compilation of new voters register does not necessarily come after census. No, because if you look at the history of compilation of new registers, we did that in 2012 when we were just about to go into the general elections, and then we also revised it in the 2016, and then we've had history of revising the register, not necessarily compiling registers, not necessarily after a population census.
But this
so that
recent one was compiled after the 2010 population census.
Yes, it was compiled after the 2012 census, but 2010 census, sorry, but it is not after every census that we compile voters register. If you look at the history of the compilation of the voters register, normally after using the register for every 2 general elections, it has been the practice of the commission to compile a new voters register. Depends upon the state in which you find your voters register. So you don't actually wait till you have a population census before. Ideally, or maybe to say that if you have it, it can actually give you a clear picture of certain indicators and other things. But if you find out that the state of your register it's not so good as we enter into a major elections like the 2020.
What's wrong with our current voters register?
In the first place, all of us agree that the voters register that we have now is bloated.
How?
It's bloated in the sense that if you look at the way we clean the voters register, it is not able to give us the correct number of people on the voters register. And we all have to really blame ourselves for not taking interest to clean what? The register. Political parties are to be blamed in the sense that when even it is time for registration, you find them taking active part in busing people to go and then register. But when it comes to cleaning during exhibition, you can bear with me that the turnout is virtually very low. So the register as we have now is bloated. We have a lot of dead or diseased names on the register, and we have certain challenges looking at the cost of elections and especially the turnout. If you look at the procurement processes and other things, you find out that we look at the number of voters that we have to procure election materials, and this adds to the cost.
So you have the Deputy Commissioner in charge of operations at the Electoral Commission, Mr. Samuel Tete, interview and speaking in that interview with my colleague Aisha Ibrahim. And like I said, that interview will be aired. The full interview will be aired tonight on PM Express at 9 p.m. on the Joy News channel. Also on our social media platforms, you can catch that interview, that PM Express with Aisha Ibrahim. So the Inter-Party Committee against, or Inter-Party Resistance against the New Voters Register. So they've laid down a roadmap against the move, even though the EC is justifying why they need to compile a new rule. There have been questions that have also been raised that technically we have just about 11 months to go before election. No, during just about 11 months, because January is actually gone. So we have just about 11 months. Are we able to compile an exhibit before the election? These are some of the questions. And then also, this is the same rule that we use for the referendum, and then also the District Assembly elections, so why the need. But you've heard Mr. Samuel Tete justifying why there's a need for the new voters register. So this Inter-Party Resistance against the new voters register, they've laid down a roadmap against the move, and they consist of the APC, the PNC, and the NDC. They've stated that it will start from Tamale on January 11 and culminate in the Mammoth procession on January 28 in Accra. You heard that the founder of APC, Hassan Ayariga, like I said, APC, PNC and NDC formed part of this inter-party resistance against the new voters register. Peter Boama Otokuno is the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, and he joins us on the line. They are part of this group, and he joins us on the line. We're grateful for your time here on Top Story, Mr. Otokuno. So you've heard the EC once again. They've given you a number of reasons why we need this voters register, and you hold contrary views. It appears that you're just opposing everything that the EC does.
That would be a very unfortunate assertion. We cannot oppose everything that the EC does. All the issues that we have raised are responses to the basis or the reasons that the Electoral Commission has offered to us as the basis for calling for the replacement of the register. And we have argued the issues very, very succinctly. We have made a point, for example, that we are not against the change of the system or improvement in the performance of the system. We are not against the addition of facial recognition technology. What we are against is the total replacement of the register, because the register is in two components, the system and the data. So what we are saying is that there is no problem with the data. They have indicated that the data is credible and that, you know, there is no problem with the data, but the system is problematic. We have agreed with them that, okay, let's change the system. Even the system, there are two ways that you can deal with it. Either you procure an entirely new system or you upgrade the system. Whichever way that you want to go, you will not have to change the data. Now, what we have to draw your attention to is that the data alone, your biometrics and my biometrics, if we say we are changing it, will be costing the nation close to about 400 million Ghana cedis, which is almost $500 million. And that is the problem. We think that for political parties, whether you are in opposition or you are in government, what should be paramount, what should be driving your activities, should be the protection of the interests of the people. And we think that this goes to the core of protecting the interests of the people. And that is why we cannot embark on this mission alone. Bear in mind, when they started this process and the discussions, you know, came up earlier, it was not transparent. In fact, I have made this point on your station that the only time we have had an opportunity to discuss new voter register has not been more than 3 hours in one meeting. And I think that is very unfortunate, because for us to have a very peaceful election, for us to build the integrity of our electoral process, it requires multi-party engagement, including the EC. Now, the EC have, you know, conducted this particular exercise in secrecy. They have shrouded the entire process in secrecy. They are doing, you know, backdoor procurement. Nobody knows anything about it. And the only time that we even got to know a little details about the cost was when it got to Parliament. In actual fact, when we had the first discussion, the stalemate was that we go for upgrade or change the system. And the position of the EC was that if they are upgrading the system, it was too expensive. Now, the information that we got from the data, the budget in Parliament, was getting close to about 833 million, comprising of the cost for the biometric system and the cost for registering everybody in the country once again. And we think that that is unacceptable. That can be prevented. The money can be saved for other equally important social developments. Our roads are bad, the hospitals are limited. Most of the hospitals do not have beds. You go to college, people are lying on the floor. Then you are willing and ready to go and spend almost $500 million to go and change a register with a data that has no problem. Bear in mind, the register we are talking about is a biometric voter register. Biometric voter registers are registers that have a long lifespan that will not change. Nobody can use my biometrics to go and vote. Nobody can use your biometrics to go and vote. Neither would your biometric and my biometrics change. So this is fundamental. So
but they've mentioned the challenges they had, for instance, in the last district assembly elections. They've had to spend 2 million Ghana cedis to repair the BVDs. So they feel that replacing it entirely will be the way to go. So because these costs will be additional. Okay, so if I look at this logic, you spend $2 million to refurbish the equipment, and the equipment work efficient at 99.04%, 99.94 or something percent, according to the CODIU. Is it not better than going to spend 833 million, which, you know, translates to about $130 something million?
So $130-something million compared to $2 million. Is it not economical? Is it not?
But the way you put it, the 800 million is not just to compile a new role, though.
No, the 833 million is to compile an entirely new register with the system. So if you can just refurbish and have an efficient election like we had in the district level election, why will you change the register? And before I leave, a quick one. In 2018, when we had the referendum, the reason why the manual verification was hard was that they had gone to Parliament to seek approval for some amount of money to do the refurbishment in 2018. They didn't do the refurbishment. And I recall that we in the NDC raised the issue about high incidence of manual verification. You would realize that when they did the refurbishment, that incident did not happen in the district level election. And all that we are saying as political parties is that you may want to add facial recognition. You may want to purchase new devices. You may want to improve the software. But you don't have to change the data. You may have to save us some 400 million Ghana for our roads, for the teachers, for the nurses, for the doctors, for the farmers, for the drivers. And that is what we are embarking on. So we have declared today that we are going to embark on what we call Young Penny Declaration across the country. On Saturday 11th, we will be in Tamale for the Tukusai demo. The following week, 21st, Tuesday, we are going to be in Kumasi for the Young Penny demonstration. We'll follow it up in Accra on 28th for the open-air demonstration or the variant of Young Penny in Ghana, if you want. We are going to embark on this series of mass public manifestations to drive home the need for the government, if they are supporting the EC, to wake up to the realities of the state. We are not rich enough. We are not comfortable enough to waste money on needless expenditure. And that is what we are saying.
Even if that will guarantee a very transparent and efficient election.
You see, the transparent and effective elections is not isolated. It's the process that builds the transparency. This process they are talking about, they have not been transparent, they have not been fair to political parties. Parties have been sidelined, IPAC has been sidelined. People are not getting involved, information is not forthcoming. Emefa promises to give us information on the cost of the upgrade, which he mentioned that was expensive than the new one, and it has not come. So all that we are saying is that this mission is a collective mission. It's a collective responsibility. The media is involved, civil society.
Not forgetting the constitutional mandate of the Electoral Commission, though.
You see, the point is that no constitutional mandate surpasses the mandate of the people and the voice of the people. And history is replete with the change that the voice of the people can bring. The powers that have been given to the Electoral Commission, and even the president, belongs to the people. And everything in the interest of the people runs supreme to any power that has been given to any institution. So the Electoral Commission cannot act like gods. They are not gods. We gave them the power which brought them into office. And that if the people are saying that this is not in their interest, which clearly it is, you have to listen. And we are going to get them to listen. And that is why we are embarking on this mission. And this register is going to achieve results. There people have said that, okay, what if you do not, they do not hit to your core? They will hit to the core. The voice of the people must be heard, and the voice of the people must be supreme at all times.
Well, but just so we're clear, before we let you off, what really is the concern with is it about the money involved, or is just the fact that we're going to compile a new role? What really is it, just for clarity?
Emefa, one, the cost is a big problem. Two,
we
do not need the compilation of a new role.
But cost is paramount. Cost is paramount for you.
There is no reason for the compilation of a new role, because the current role, according to the use themselves, is credible. And for God's sake, it is biometric. They have argued, for example, that this is not the first time we are changing register. In the past, even almost every 2 elections, we change the register. The registers that we have changed in the past, none of them was biometric. None of them was this credible. So you cannot compare apples to oranges. What we are talking about is a biometric data. And we think that the cost has everything to do. It runs to the core of the economic well-being of the ordinary Ghanaian. And we think that is paramount. Your income tax, Emefa, my income tax, and everybody's income tax, everybody's taxes that they are paying is what is at stake here. And for that matter, every single Ghanaian should have a say in this matter. It's about elections.
Okay.
It's about credible elections. It's about transparent elections. It's about free and fair elections. It cannot be the decision of one person. Bear in mind that the referee alone does not play a football match. You need the football teams to play the match. And you were making the point that this coalition for the resistance against this new voter register is PSP, APC, and NDC. No, it is made up of 6 political parties.
Which other ones?
The APC, the NDC, the USP, the UPP, and the IGNOR are involved in this mission. And other political parties are willing to join on this call.
Which other ones are willing to join?
When they are ready, we'll let you know.
Well, so what form is this series of demonstrations going to take?
Well, as I said, we are going to start in Tamale. We are going to demonstrate massively against this new voter register. We would make our points and our issues and reasons very clear. From there, we would move. That is this Saturday, 11th January. Then on 21st, which is a Tuesday, we would move to Kumasi. We will run another mega demonstration in Kumasi. We are expecting the people of Kumasi to join us in this demonstration, particularly because if you look at the plethora of problems that is confronting them, the bad roads, the lack of potable drinking water, the energy problems they are having. They are already, enjoying some blue in there. The hospitals are bad. The hospitals that have been left in the bush, those President Muhammad started, they are unable to buy beds. Go to Konfano, see how the sick people are lying on the floor. People do not have beds. People are being turned away. Some are dying because of lack of beds.
Okay.
All those people are channeling and harnessing their anger to support the Young Pele demonstration in Kumasi on 21st. Then on 28th, which is also another Tuesday, we will do the mega climax in Accra, and we will expect to see each and every one. If your road is bad, if you have lost your job, if you lost your investment in this financial sector crisis, if your company has collapsed, if you have been dismissed from your workplace, if you are a teacher and
all these people are supposed to come because of the compilation of the voters register, right?
And all these people are supposed to join because their limited resources, their sweat is going to be wasted on a needless expedition, which is going to be very dangerous for our electoral process.
We'll have to leave it here. We're grateful indeed for your time. That's Peter Boama Otokuno. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, and their party is part of the inter-party resistance against the new voters register. That's it for Top Story, brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready. And Gassam, the nation builder. Coming up on Top in Newsnight shortly here on Joy 99.7 FM. University of Ghana Fact-Finding Committee finds no evidence of sexual harassment against 2 lecturers in BBC Sex for Grades documentary, but says Professor Jampo and Dr. Butako engage in vexatious conduct. Also, minority in parliament says continuous delay in distributing grounded ambulances should make Ghanaians angry, as it points to a grand scheme to delay the distribution till election 2020. That's coming up shortly on Newsnight.